welcome to The Coach's Call. Thanks for joining me. I'm your host, Guido Piraino. If you're not a subscriber, please consider subscribing so that you can be here with us and get notified each time that we're broadcasting. So, the NHL playoffs, we're going to cover a little bit of that. The Montreal Canadiens, Boston Bruins. Want to talk a little bit about WrestleMania too, because that's all happening. Everything kind of kicked off in the same weekend. But let me start with the Montreal Canadiens, who just went up 1-0 on the Tampa Bay Lightning. And look, I don't think this is going to be a sweep of a series. I don't think anybody really thinks that. I think it may go 6-7 games even. You see how evenly matched up these teams are. But there's a couple of things that stood out to me. One, the obvious. Slafkovský gets 3 power play goals in a playoff game. And surprisingly, I was even surprised by this. It's the first Montreal Canadien to ever record 3 power play goals in a playoff game, which is phenomenal when you think of some of the players that have gone through that system, that has never happened. So very cool. Incredible that happened. How exciting for Slafkovský. And, when things like this happen, it just seems that everybody's continuing to, bring those comparisons to Shane Wright and how the Montreal Canadiens didn't pick Shane Wright and the look, and you see the memes that come up. And I almost want to hope that this is a turning point where they could stop doing that, where there's no longer that comparison needed. It's been a few years now. Both players are on different teams or on different trajectories. It's time to move on from Shane Wright and disassociate him from Slafkovský. Slafkovsky's doing his own thing, and just enjoy Juraj Slafkovský for who he is and what he's bringing to your team and what's going on in that young man's career, and let him have his own moment without having to mention somebody else, because he is, I think, 22 years old. A lot of hockey hopefully in front of him, and from what we've seen, turning into a premier power forward in the NHL. So there's that. Close game. Goaltending on both sides was really good. That's why I continue to think, wow, this is going to be a really close series the rest of the way. We saw some physicality. We saw the Montreal Canadiens dominate in the face-off circle. But it's still close. It's still a close game, and there's still a little bit of that learning that Montreal is doing, and you see it in little parts of the game all over the ice still, that it could easily go the other way. So some things to watch for as that series unfolds. Now, the other thing I noticed in that game was, and I have to mention it, the crowd. So the crowd in Tampa Bay, Florida, at some point was chanting USA, USA, USA. And I didn't quite get it in the moment, right? Because in my brain, I'm thinking to myself, okay, the Tampa Bay Lightning, your coach, John Cooper, he's Canadian. And then some of your best players on that team, Braden Point, Anthony Cirelli, Brandon Hagel, McPaul, Corey Perry, Yanni Gourde, like Connor Geekie. Like, it just went on and on and on, like the number of Canadians that are on the team. And I suspect you're chanting USA, USA because you're playing the Montreal Canadiens. And I mean, it doesn't end there. Like, Nikita Kucherov is Russian, Vasilevsky, Russian. You have a player in like Hedman who's, there's a long list of international players. And to be honest, to really hit and say, well, if I'm cheering USA, USA, who do I have of significance on Tampa Bay Lightning? And you've got Jake Gunsel, Ryan McDonough. So maybe you're chanting USA, USA because you're an American team in principle, and you're playing the Canadiens. There's some significant Americans on the Montreal Canadiens too. Anyways, I just think that in that moment, how about just, hey, go Bolts go, or go Tampa go if that's what you're trying to pull off. But I don't know that pulling USA into it is the right thing. Check, if you can, check those politics out before you get there, and just enjoy the NHL for what it is. The other thing in the NHL that I noticed in the games, moving away from that, is the Boston Bruins. And I gotta wonder, are the Boston Bruins this year's Toronto Maple Leafs in the playoffs? And we can't get away from the Toronto Maple Leafs, folks. What I mean by that is Boston has that game one in hand. They're up 2-0, and they blow a 2-0 lead to the Buffalo Sabres, where the Sabres score 4 goals in 5 minutes. Like a complete collapse by the Boston Bruins. This is what we're accustomed to seeing from our friends in Toronto, right? Like the Toronto Maple Leafs. So I just thought, wow, like pretty incredible there that has happened. Pretty wild. Closing things out, I did manage to catch some WWE WrestleMania season, day 1 and day 2. I don't know. I've become less a fan of this whole day 1 and day 2 thing. I just thought overall it felt a little boring. Both couple of days had some things going on that were just boring. And I don't know if it was I was distracted by hockey, or it was just genuinely boring. Like there were some matches in both days that I thought they could have condensed this into one WrestleMania and had a really good show, a really good WrestleMania. And then I think somebody was complaining the advertisements. There was something like almost an hour's worth of advertisements in the 3.5-hour show. And then when you eliminate the entrances, which took up another hour in total, right? It was just not enough in-ring action, not enough storytelling. And I think really probably there was not enough storytelling leading up to the event either. The way that some of the matches were set up. You had Brock Lesnar seemingly retire, put his boots and gloves in the middle of the ring, and that came to an end. And there was another element that I thought, the crowd. I don't know if it was the venue, but you got 50,000 people, and just the reactions were low, or you didn't really feel like the energy in the building. I know the announcers kept saying, oh, the energy's electrifying. Maybe if you were there live, I don't know. But it didn't feel that way watching it. It felt really boring and low key, and it just felt like the crowd was a drain more than anything else. Like there was some spots where I thought, oh, you're going to hear the crowd, and it just didn't materialize for me. So I think it was a fail that they tried the Vegas thing again. Yeah, I mean you had a full arena. It looked like. I know they had to do discounts for tickets and all that stuff. I want to watch wrestling like I did, 30 years ago, where I want to be in awe of the storytelling. I don't want to have to focus on the crowd feel and all that stuff. I just want some good matches. I want some good storytelling. I want it to be fun. I want it to be surprises, not forced surprises with fake Draculas and all this sort of stuff. Just the pageantry of WrestleMania was missing. That's where I'm going to leave that. So, Slafkovský, amazing power forward in the making. Tampa Bay, don't make this about USA versus Canada. You got other things going on there in terms of your representation. Bruins, this year's Toronto Maple Leafs collapsing in the third. And WWE, get it right. Get back to pageantry. That's the coach's call. Thank you for joining me. Subscribe and come back. Take care.